Here we go then, ready for the second final of the day. It's the juniors, and back up in the box to talk you through the grid, here's Matt Suckling.
So here we go then with the juniors. The way the grid lines up for this final race of the year in terms of the championship sees Thomas Preining on pole position after a great performance so far this weekend. He's got Alex Quinn, who went very well in pre-final. We'll look out for him at the start of this one. The kart seems to be running perfectly now for that youngster. Row 2 sees Richard Verschoor in the hunt for the championship with Dave Wooder alongside him, winner last time out at Zuera in Spain. Row 3 then has another championship contender, Dean McDonald, and Jean-Baptiste Simenauer is alongside on that row. Row 4, 7th place for Jack McCarthy with Denis Mavlenov on the outside. Row 5 is then Nicholas Scholl and Marcus Armstrong. Back on row 6 sees Dzina Slavinsky and Max Hoffer. Further back, Adrian Renaudin and Maurizio van der Laan on row number 7. Louis Ferdinand Simenauer, brother to Jean-Baptiste, is down on row number 8 with Panana Manang alongside. Daniel Luco is there on row 9 with Nazim Asman. Back inside the top 20 for Ayrton Simmons and Gianfranco Mazzaferro. Marta Garcia, our female racer, on the podium last time out in Spain. She's way down in 21st. She's got another very quick youngster coming through, Max Timmermans, alongside. Row number 12 then has Matthew Solacek and Ida Cohen. Row 13, Keenan Santoso and Jordan Brown-Nutley, who suffered dramas earlier on. Enzo Corsamao and Emilian Carde on row 14. Row 15 is then Finley Hutchinson and Luke Ibanez. Row 16, penultimate row of the grid for Mick Vishofer and Michael McCarthy. And right towards the back, 33rd for Adam Heikel and 34th for Jakob Bazel. So here we go then, second final of the day, this time for juniors, and once again a championship to be decided. The kart's gridding up, and here's Chris with the start of the race.
Thanks, Matt. It's going to be 12 laps this one, not 16 like we see for the other two categories. So a 12-lap race for the juniors. On drop scores, it is being led the championship by Thomas Preining. He won both of the pre-final and the final in round 1 at Genk, did the same in Italy. Didn't go well in round 3 in Spain, but he's back on fire, absolutely storming it. So far here this weekend is Tommy Preining on pole on Friday, on pole today after winning all 3 heats yesterday, and he won the pre-final. He only won it, though, by 30 thousandths of a second. Alex Quinn almost pipped him on the line after a real charge through the field on the final lap. Tommy put both arms off the wheel, celebrated, and almost actually lost the victory. But Tommy leads by 14 points from Richard Verschoor and Dean McDonald then third, a couple of points further back. This is all about this race, though, and it gets underway. Tommy Preining leads the field. Richard Verschoor tucks in behind him. Alex Quinn is on the outside. There's a huge calamity in the middle of the pack. We got 7 or 8 carts off at turn 1. We lost somebody else from that front group as well on the way into the gravel trap. I think it's Simenauer that's gone off from the lead group at turn 2, but that was an almighty coming together on the way into turn 1. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 carts all off in the gravel trap at turn 1. There were about 6 others that were embroiled in that as well. Let's pick them off. Gianfranco Mazzaferro is one of them, number 103. 89 is Matthew Solacek. He gets going again. Number 5, Max Timmermans from the front-runner championship. Front-running championship driver is another of them. And the other one that's stuck down there at the moment is still in the gravel and probably, I think, out of the race is number 121, which is Nazim Asman, and there were 6 others, I think, who are all massively delayed. But at the head of the field, shows how important pole position is, doesn't it? It's Thomas Preining. Richard Verschoor tucking into 2nd place. I know Alex Quinn lost some places because he was on the outside of row 1. Where's he going to end up? McDonald is 3rd. In 4th place is Jack McCarthy from 7th on the grid. 5th at the end of lap 1 is Dave Wooder. Marcus Armstrong has come through to 6th. Konstantin Scholl 7th. Alex Quinn is down in 8th place. Mavlenov and van der Laan then rounding out the top 10 at the end of a dramatic first lap.
What a big incident then at turn 1. That's near enough now been sorted. Just a couple of carts stranded there. They'll be cleared within time. But the leader on his own, slightly out there at front, Thomas Preining has got Richard Verschoor behind him at the end of the lap by 1/4 of a second. So now we know Richard's been quick so far this weekend. Can he get himself closer to the back of Thomas Preining? Can he take with him as well Dean McDonald there in 3rd place? Another man hunting for that championship. But ideally, he needs to finish ahead of Preining up front in this one. Jack McCarthy 4th at the minute. Dave Wooder there in 5th place, and the top lot all seem to be pretty much together here in this one. We've got about 7 up front, 8th and 9th trying to catch Alex Quinn and Denis Mavlenov. So Alex really hung out to dry at turn number 1. He had no room to get back down the inside, so he now finds himself, as we said, in that 8th place, and let's see if he can carry the speed like he did in pre-final earlier on. Meantime, Preining and Verschoor through the yellow flag zone. Now we get greens down towards number 2, where Verschoor looked for a move once again. He was glued to the back of the tail, but he couldn't quite get down the inside. So Preining still leads. Verschoor is second, and Dean McDonald there in third place. Those three slightly breaking away now from the fourth place man, Jack McCarthy.
I think it's fair to say that this final is not going to count for Max Timmermans. It's going to be his worst one so far, so he won't actually count it towards his total, but it means, of course, he can't close the gap to anybody ahead. And Max, I think, suffering damage to the kart as well. Real shame after being super quick, super competitive all weekend long. So the second half of the field split up by that carnage at turn number 1. Preining leading the way, but only by a tenth of a second. Richard Verschoor has looked very racy this weekend. Preining won all 3 of his heats, but Richard Verschoor came through and won a heat yesterday when he was 8th at the end of the first lap. So he's not one that you can discount yet. We can't discount Alex Quinn either, although Alex is about to lose a place at turn number 10, and that is because Maurizio van der Laan has just overtaken him. So van der Laan gets through at the tail end of the top 10. Richard Verschoor through turn 1. He's right onto the tail of Tommy Preining, and he's going for the lead of the race. Richard gets through into turn 1. Tommy knows he hasn't necessarily got to win the race, of course, though. So maybe a little bit of caution here from the championship leader. No caution from Dean McDonald. Through he goes at turn 4 and gets second place as well. So McDonald ahead of his championship rival now. But he needs Tommy Preining to finish a lot lower down the order than third place to have any chance of winning the championship. As it stands, Tommy Preining is still pretty comfortable there in third place. It's going to take a lot more than that, a lot more positions lost than that for Tommy not to win this championship. But Dean McDonald going for it. Dean's going to go for the win, of course, isn't he? He's been right up there in the championship. He said to us right at the start of the weekend, yes, I'm thinking about points, but if I get a chance to win, I am going to go for it. And Dean so far this season's had a second, he's had a third, he's had a fifth, but he hasn't had a victory. The fact that he's even been anywhere near in his first season is remarkable, but we do expect that he's capable of winning races now. He hasn't quite looked to be on the pace this weekend as he has at some of the other circuits. Not until now, and now is when it really counts. Richard Verschoor leading the way. Richard has yet to win this season. He's had a second, he's had a third, he's had a fourth, but he hasn't had a win, so he leads now in the red and blue suit. Second is McDonald. In third place then, you've got Tommy Preining. Fourth, going really well, is Jack McCarthy, looking for his first podium of the season. Marcus Armstrong going well in fifth place, the New Zealander. Dave Wooder is in the top 6 as well. And Alex Quinn, who is at the front, of course, is in 10th place now.
So the top 7 are the ones in the fight for the lead at the minute. Was still Richard Verschoor out front. Dean McDonald now second, and Tommy Preining there in third place. Has he got any chance of trying to get back ahead of those two that passed him around about a lap ago? Well, he's really trying now as he works his way through the left-hander. They then come down towards a hairpin at turn number 10. He's not under attack at the minute by Jack McCarthy, so he's got time to try and work his way past cart number 95 of Dean McDonald. Let's see if he gets a run through the final corner then. Through the right-hander they come. Tommy was a little bit slow there, so he may now be under attack from Jack McCarthy. They go across the line in the toe. Tommy hugs the wheel, gets his head down and tries to get the best slipstream through turn number 1. Down towards toe they go, and there goes Tommy for a move on the inside of Dean McDonald. Jack McCarthy tries to follow him through, which he can't quite do, and then there's once again tit for tat because both of them go through then on Tommy Preining, and they're all ganging up now on the youngster as they work their way through the chicane. So it leads out front Richard Verschoor by around about a second now by the looks of it over everyone else. Second has gone that of Dean McDonald. McCarthy's up there into third place. Tommy dropped down to fourth in cart number 8, and then behind that we've got the strong running at the minute, Marcus Armstrong and Dave Wooder. He may have just been passed there as Dave Wooder gets back down the inside, and right on the tail Nicholas Scholl. So Nicholas is going to try and get his way through as quickly as possible here. He's in contention to try and get some places away, but look out front now. Richard Verschoor is at the head of it. He's trying to pull away as best possible, which is achieving himself at the minute. Second, third and fourth tied together by a very minute piece of string at the minute. Again, they come down to the final corner to start the 7th lap of the race. Just 6 to go this time round. Richard Verschoor has a margin of just under a second, so it's very, very close indeed. Here it comes for second again. McDonald and McCarthy. McCarthy looks for the inside line. He can't quite get it done once more, but that is the overtaking spot of this race, and it has been so far this weekend. So they run as they are. There goes Tommy for a move for third, and he gets it. So this is now turning into a move for the race as well. So Tommy gets through, back up into third place. Jack McCarthy drops to fourth, and now he's under attack from Marcus Armstrong.
It's a move on every corner almost, isn't it, in this junior race? Richard Verschoor leading, looking for a win for the first time this season. If it stays like this, he'll hold on to second place in the championship. He's only 2 points clear on drop scores of Dean McDonald, but he's ahead of Dean and on for 55 points. So Dean in second on for 52. Tommy Preining battling away, isn't he? Trying to be in third place, and now he's got a gap back to the next group in fourth. That'll give him a bit more comfort. Probably more comfort for mum and dad who are watching and probably having a heart attack watching all of this now. But Tommy's third, and he's settled into this. Pulled off a brave move, didn't he, to try and get back into the top three a couple of laps ago. It nearly didn't work for him, but there he is, back in third place. And third place good enough for the title at the moment by a long way. So if it stays as it is, he's going to win the championship from Verschoor and from McDonald. As changes further back, though, in this scrap for fourth position. They're all changing around. It's opened up a little bit. We've got now running in that fourth place, Dave Wooder. And then McCarthy, Scholl and Armstrong all battling away. Or was it Armstrong that's nosed in front? Very similar liveries on the carts of Dave Wooder and Marcus Armstrong. It is Armstrong in front, in fact. So Dave Wooder's dropped back to sixth place, I reckon. So we've got Armstrong fourth, McCarthy and Scholl battling away with Wooder. Nicholas Scholl going really well, the Austrian driver there. Alex Quinn's dropped back to 13th place now. So I wonder if there's not some sort of issue with his cart. Max Timmermans has dropped out of the race completely now, as has Asman, Mazzaferro and Corsimo. Still 30 carts running there out on the circuit as they come round to complete another lap. There's 4 laps to go then. Richard Verschoor leads by a few lengths from Dean McDonald. In third place is Tommy Preining. In fourth place, catching them a bit, is Marcus Armstrong. Then it's McCarthy in fifth. Dave Wooder currently in sixth place. Make it fifth place. He's gone down the inside into turn 2. Dave Wooder gets through ahead of McCarthy. So up to fifth place for Wooder. And he is followed through there by Scholl. And Jack McCarthy will lose another place. He's going to lose 3 places as a result of that and drop down towards the tail end, Matt, of the top 10.
Yeah, he gets bumped by Maurizio van der Laan as well as they work their way through the chicane that time. But that was not the best of moves to be made because he dropped right down there by just leaving that door open. So not good news for Jack McCarthy. Just looking back up at the trio up front with Richard Verschoor, Dean McDonald and Thomas Preining. Thomas now got his head back down after being passed a few laps ago. He got muscled wide, of course. He's now focusing on what he can do about Dean McDonald up the road. They head down towards turn 10. Tommy looks for a move down the inside there, but again, he was a little bit too far back. So Dean had that line covered. He's got the place as well. Still there in second. Fourth place we know is Marcus Armstrong, and all of those 4 now have pulled away from the chasing pack. So they'll come through this time, and we'll see what happens with fifth on backwards as they go down towards turn number 2. It's McCarthy ahead of Wooder, and Scholl is there as well. What can Wooder do this time? Does he jinx out for a move down the inside? No, he doesn't. So, oh, yes, he does now because he pushes him slightly wide. There was no contact, but Jack McCarthy was aware he was there. So Dave Wooder now goes through. Nicholas Scholl follows as well. And there down the inside goes Denis Mavlinov.
Change for second as well as Preining gets past McDonald. I was about to say, if it stays like this, Preining's going to win it by 9 points. He might be winning it by 10 points now. Richard Verschoor, it looks like he's going to win the race at this stage, though. Less than 3 laps to go, and the Dutch driver is exactly 7/10 of a second clear of the chasing pack. But second, third and fourth are all tied together, aren't they? With Armstrong very much coming into that mix now. They're about to come towards the hairpin at turn number 10. With Verschoor leading, Preining now having got up to second place, and Armstrong got through as well, so he's in third position, and McDonald is now down to fourth place. It doesn't really affect the championship top 3, that whichever order they are in at the moment in that top 4. I don't think it's really going to affect the standings unless McDonald can get ahead of Verschoor, then he might be able to get second in the championship. Dave Wooder leads the next group of carts. He's there in 5th place, but 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th are all together. It's Wooder, Scholl, Mavlinov, McCarthy. Bit of a gap back then to Wieshofer in 9th and Hoffer in 10th position. The fastest lap still belongs to Marcus Armstrong. We've got less than 2 laps to go, Matt.
So there they go then, the leaders on their way off the back straight once again. Verschoor, Preining and now Marcus Armstrong up there in third place. Dean McDonald, a very, very slow lap there for himself. So it's not turned into the best end to the weekend, but it's still going to be a solid point scoring result for him. So Dean now there in the green and white machine, turns his way through the right-hander at turn number 8. Fastest lap of the race has been set by that third place man, Marcus Armstrong, on a 63.226. And we'll see if he can do anything about the man in second for the final lap. We're about to start here at Salisbury. Tommy Preining then runs over the curbs into the corner. Just again looking back behind the top 4, we've got Dave Wooder in 5th place. 6th place is Nicholas Scholl, and again we've got these teammates going hammer and tong. Denis Mavlinov now ahead of Jack McCarthy once again. Those two are very close for company down at turn number 2. They go through in the same order. 9th place is Mick Wieshofer and 10th place for Max Hoffer, but I'm sure that'll all change on this last lap now, which we are now on. The top 3 head their way on towards turn 4 through the chicane. It's Verschoor with a nice half a second lead over Tommy Preining, and Marcus Armstrong continues to push. They're in third place.
If it stays like this, then Preining is going to wrap the championship up by 11 points from Richard Verschoor. Dean McDonald will finish third in the standings, but still just under a lap of the race to go. Richard Verschoor, though, hasn't he driven well? Been caught a little bit by Tommy Preining, but everybody in Tommy's camp and in Team TKP and all his family will be willing him just to sit where he is. Don't take any risks here. He's almost home and dry. He's used to winning, but he doesn't need to win this time. He just wants to win the title. Richard Verschoor is tightening up a bit. Preining is with him. One more corner to go. Marcus Armstrong, of course, looking for his first podium after a tough comeback drive from the pre-final. Fists aloft for our winner and for our champion. Tommy Preining is the 2014 champion, but the winner of the race is Richard Verschoor. Terrific driving from those pair this weekend, and from Marcus Armstrong. Marcus had to come from quite a way back, didn't he, to get that 11th on the grid. So all three of them there with firsts. A first win for Richard Verschoor, a first championship title for Tommy Preining, and a first ever podium in this championship for Marcus Armstrong. Terrific drive. McDonald comes home fourth. Wooder is in fifth place, and then Scholl sixth, McCarthy seventh, Wieshofer eighth, Mavlanov in ninth, Van der Laan in 10th place. 11th was Hofer, and a disappointing final in the end for Alex Quinn, but he's driven really well this weekend, and he'll remember that pre-final drive for a long time. He's had a great season as well on his debut in the championship. The fastest lap goes to Marcus Armstrong, but it's Tommy Preining who wraps up the championship title map. I'll go down now and see if I can grab a word with any of those guys as you look to build up to the next race.
Yep, so there's just confirmation for the viewers on RGMM MCTV, which is the win for Richard Verschoor by 0.3 of a second over Thomas Preining. Two of the teammates up there in the first two places for Team TKP. Dan Holland Racing's Marcus Armstrong comes home in third place. Dean McDonald for fourth, fifth place for Dave Wooder, and Nicholas Scholl back in sixth place. Then Strawberry Racing's Jack McCarthy in seventh. Mick Wieshofer, Dennis Mavlanov, and Maurizio Van der Laan round out your top 10. Further back, we've got Max Hofer in 11th, Alex Quinn for 12th, and Luke Ibanez, the Spaniard, in 13th. Louis Ferdinand Simonau, followed by Finley Hutchinson and Marta Garcia. Didn't really impress this weekend. She gets home in 16th place. Adrian Renadan in 17th, and Padana Manang there in 18th place at the end of that one. Lower down, we saw the likes of Michael McCarthy in 19th place. We then saw Davina Slavinsky in 20th, followed by Jordan Brown-Nutley, Jacob Bazell, and Emilian Carde inside the top 23 places. And then, of course, that big melee at turn number one, which saw the race end for a championship contender, and he was taking no part in that final. Max Timmermans, big disappointment for that man. Nazim Asman was another one involved, along with the Canadian driver Gianfranco Mazzaferro and Enzo Corsamao as well in 34th place. But Richard Verschoor, who takes the win in that one, very strong this weekend. He's been on the podium in all of the heats. He was on the podium for the pre-final earlier, and he gets his first win of the year as well. That confirms Thomas Preining as this year's champion for juniors. 264 points he gets with the total points, and of course he also gets crowned champion on drop points. Richard Verschoor in second, Dean McDonald third, and Max Timmermans, unfortunately for him, drops down to fourth place at the end of that final senior race in terms of the championship for this year here at Salisbury in France.